Hi, I'm Sarah J and welcome back to my creative space. Another beautiful day in Melbourne. I think it's 33 today, very warm, feeling blessed because we've had such a great summer, and I'm aware that it is eventually going to come to an end, but it's been amazing. So today I am inspired by haystacks. So not far from me is a lot of farmland, and the last month or so there's been a lot of farmers putting out all their haystacks, and every time I go down to take Snow to the local dog park with my husband, and on a few trips here and there, I've been passing these haystacks, and so that's it, I want to paint a haystack. So as many of you know, I'm very much a Monet fan, and I consider him my teacher. Even though he's not alive, he's a mentor for me. And so Monet did many haystacks. In actual fact, when I was looking all of this up, I found out that Monet actually did 25 haystack paintings. So this is one of the famous ones here. So one of the reasons why apparently he did all these haystacks, well, one was that it was actually nearby his house. So that was just something that he saw all the time, just like me. And the other thing was he was really interested in how the color and the light would change depending on the time of day. So you'll see haystacks at our sunrise, sunset, during the day, during the later parts of the day, and in different sort of settings. So today we are going to be painting with acrylic paint. Going to be painting on a mini canvas. The painting is just here. I recommend, if you just do decide to paint the haystacks, that you do pause and stop the painting so that you can take your time and paint with me. So the materials that I'll be using today, obviously I've got a mini canvas, so it's a stretched canvas on, I think it's 25 by 25 centimeters. I will be using flat paint brushes, these two paint brushes. I will be using quite a few different colors. So these are the paints I'll be using. We have a beautiful purple, we have cobalt blue, we have cerulean blue, titanium white always, verde green, lovely bright green, monostral green, raw sienna, and some bright yellow, any bright yellow, mid yellow. So there you go. I'll be using a pointed brush and another smaller flat brush. Okay, so I have my easel set up and my canvas is all ready. So I always like to start off by looking at, well, what exactly am I painting here? So I've got my haystack picture here. I'd like to have a look a little bit more in the detail, also look at the different colors in the picture and what are the key features that I will be doing today. So today I'm using a charcoal pencil to do my outline. So I just start off usually with the horizon, and then I just add in the main components to my picture. Obviously this is mainly about haystacks, so I'm just trying to bring in what I believe I will be putting into the picture. It is a fairly quick sketch. I'm not worrying about too much detail here. It's just really an opportunity to outline what I think are the key components of the picture. Then I move on to my paints. So I'm starting with cerulean blue for the sky. And I've got my flat, large paintbrush, a 50mm Taklon. And I mix up my sky. So So I'm really just looking at filling the canvas at this point with the blue to really make the expanse of the sky as an underlayer. So like Monet, I'm really wanting to use vibrant colors here in my picture. And Monet used short and sharp brush strokes, and that's really a style that I have also incorporated into my own personal style over the years. Now I'm bringing in another shade of blue just to deepen it out a little bit. And I'm bringing in some purple now. This is really just to create the depth of color in the sky and to create a really dynamic background. Important also to remember to paint the sides of your canvas as well. Got my titanium white, and I'm just going over now, creating clouds into the picture. There are clouds in the picture that I took, and I think it does make a sky more interesting, creates good mood. One of the things I like to do is also bring those colors into the foreground in the shadows, which I've done. And now I'm bringing in some more white into the clouds here over the purple. It's basically just layering upon layering, creating some depth, creating some contrast, creating some shadows. The big brushes are great because you can do bold brush strokes and you can get a lot of paint onto the canvas. So now I've moved on to my raw sienna, my yellow, and my white, which is going to create that beautiful neutral color in the fields. So it's summer, that it's very, very dry, and the fields are very, very dry, which is why I really wanted to paint this picture, because it's a very interesting difference between the very, very dry colors of the fields and the blue sky. So yeah, I'm just doing layer upon layer of highlights here and different shades of yellow and white, ensuring that I'm getting that slight hill in there. There is a gentle slope, which I'm ensuring is in my picture. Yeah, just remembering to ensure that the sides are done. In case I don't end up framing it, it is nice. Someone could put it on the wall without having to frame it and it's already got color on the side. You don't have to do it, but I think it is a nice thing to do. So I'm bringing in a bit more foreground color here. And yeah, so using some beautiful deep browns. Really, I'm just creating the deeper layers first and then going over the top later. So now I've got a different paintbrush. I'm using more of a pointed brush here, and this is where I'm bringing in my haystacks. So I'm really wanting to bring in that beautiful bright yellow here to create a feeling of summer. It creates a mood, it creates a happy mood. So I'm just dotting the haystacks in. Don't have to be too fussy here. I am trying to generally follow what I saw, but I am just really moving quickly, putting my haystacks in. The key thing is I have a couple of bigger haystacks, so the eye has the perspective. Using yellow and white here. Farmland is so fun to watch because it's always changing, and I think, you know, if you live near farmland, it's good if you're an artist to capture it at different stages of seasons. So now I'm bringing in some lovely greens. Really working on the horizon, ensuring that I've got my horizon in there. I like to get those brighter colors in first, and then I can go over with darker later. It's really good because with brushes you can get texture as well, so you don't have to rely just on the colors. You can use your texture to create interest and movement in your picture. If we were to be painting this live, we'd be really conscious of how the light is constantly changing. So working from a photo, we're kind of privileged because we have the time, because time has stood still. But if you were out there working live, which is the way Monet used to paint and the Impressionists did, you'd have to move very, very quick, and you'd have to be thinking about shadow and light and texture. And that's one of the reasons why their brush strokes were so fast. They needed to move very quickly. So just continuing to work on the foreground here to ensure I'm getting the colors all in there. Just bringing different shades of green, different parts of grass, making it a bit interesting at the front of the picture. I think it is good to have an interesting foreground. Painting is just so fun. It's just something that you can do and forget about everything else and just be in that moment. It's very meditative. It's very, very peaceful. It's very, very therapeutic. I just love to paint. So continuing to fill in the elements of the farmland and just really creating strokes that give you an idea of what something might be. I don't have to finish everything off perfectly. Bringing in more elements of white, highlighting those haystacks where the sun's hitting the haystacks. I like to mix up the white and the yellow here, and it's just really nice sort of combination of colors. I like to keep a bit of white, a reasonable amount of paint on the brush. Again, that's because acrylic paint dries fairly quickly and I want a thick application. And so putting a little bit more paint on that brush helps me to get that thickness in the one stroke. Bringing in some more green. Blue, cobalt blue. Cobalt blue is such a beautiful blue. And really putting in the definition of that horizon line where there's the trees in the distance. And that's really bringing the sky as well together here with the horizon. I'm also bringing the blue around the haystacks for shadow. It's the first, I guess the deepest part of the shadow I'm using is the blue because I really wanted to tie it in with the sky. And that's what the Impressionists did as well, is they used, the same sort of colors in different parts of the picture. And especially if you don't have a lot of time, you have so many colors on your palette. You really are just going back to those same colors. At the same time, I'm using the blue to work in different areas of the picture where the shadows are there and there's a little bit of darkness and less light, because the blue is available and it is on my palette and the paint hasn't dried. So this is my opportunity to really go in there. I have painted with oil paint in the past and I really do enjoy it. The difference with oil paint is it takes longer to dry, but you have a lot more flexibility. You can take your time a little bit more. But also because I work in a fairly small space for my painting, you really need to have, I guess, windows that are, going to really get the flow of air. I've got a window here, but it will be very strong smelling with oil paint. Hence why I've really chosen acrylic. And, I've grown to really love acrylic over the years, but I will definitely, if I have a bigger studio in the future, I will go back to oils because there is so many benefits of using oil paints. And you can have a little bit more time to work through the colors. Of course, with oils, you're not using water, you're using thinners and you're using other sort of mediums to thicken. The benefit with acrylic, of course, is the layers dry fast, so I can go quickly onto another layer as I'm doing now without having any smudges. Another reason why I love acrylics. There's going to be benefits for both, and you just have to work out what's working best for you. So I'm now going in with my very pointed brush. This is my most favorite brush. And I'm doing some final touches in the foreground here. And I'll just let you listen to some music as I finish. Enjoy. So I think it's really good to go over how the approach went and how the painting flowed. In the morning, having a lovely walk, so I was definitely ready, and I did all my preliminary work looking at haystacks as well. So yeah, I'm really happy with the colors. I think they worked really well. The blue was really important to get that really vibrant blue, and I did bring that into the foreground as well. And the yellow for the haystacks I did use throughout the picture to really bring it together. One of the things you'll notice with the original picture is there was actually a fence. I took this actual photo, I was there, and there was a fence right here, and I was going to put it in right at the end, and then I just decided to ditch the fence because I just felt that it really didn't add anything to the picture, and I was really happy with the haystack right at the front here, and I felt it might just take away from the picture. The sky was full of clouds on the day, so I definitely wanted to capture that. I love a good sky. I think a sky really creates a great mood for the picture, and you know, it's got like lots of texture on it. I do like to use a big brush for those sort of strokes because I feel like with acrylic paint you can kind of thicken it up a little bit. Oils and acrylics work quite differently, so with acrylics it does dry quite fast, so I think that's where getting a big brush and just putting the paint on fairly thick, be confident, just go for it. I also did bring in purple in there. I like to use purple with a hue like blue for a sky because I think it makes it for an interesting picture and creates the dimensions that I want. It also creates a nice mood for the picture, and I did bring those colors into the foreground here too. If you look at the picture, you'll see the way that I took the picture, and there's an actual hill. So I did make sure that the hill was very clear here. It's a very gentle slope, but I think it is interesting. There also was a few things on the back hill. There was lots of trees. There was a couple of big trees, and there was, I think, a house. So again, I decided just to stick with the trees, and your mind can actually put that in anyway from a distance. I'm happy the way the picture turned out. When I originally have been thinking about painting haystacks, I've been thinking about it literally for a few weeks, and it's been going on in the back of my mind. Then I went to the site, finally took the pictures, and I wanted it to feel very soft, but I want it to be interesting and textured. Obviously, I am inspired always by the Impressionists, and yeah, so definitely was looking at how I was using light and brush strokes to create the right color and light effect. So if you do want to have a go at painting the picture, remember to slow the video down because I do have it in fast speed, and also to pause it when you need to so you can just paint along. And I'd love to see your work, so tag me on Instagram at sarahj.artist so I can see how it all worked out for you. So after this, I would let it dry, make sure it's fully dry, and then I would give it 2 varnishes of paint. And it'll be ready to go on someone's wall. It was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. I feel like I might have haystacks out of my system, but I'm not sure. The other thing I was thinking about as I was painting it today, gosh, wouldn't it be great to paint it at night? You know, I don't think I'll be like Monet and do 25 pictures. Well, maybe I will. But I would like to have a go at painting at night. I think it'd be very interesting with the stars. We could create a bit of a Van Gogh feel, maybe a bit of a Starry Night feel. Anyway, so that's something to think about for another day, or something that you could do. So thank you so much for joining me today. If you do decide to paint the haystack picture, be sure to tag me on Instagram at sarahj.artist and follow me anyway. I'd love for you to follow me and I can see your work. I will be sharing more with you in the future, acrylic painting, soft pastels. So remember to subscribe so you get notified of future videos, and it will also help me a lot. Anyway, until next time, have a fabulous rest of the day, and I'll see you soon.